Hi everyone. So this is my first episode really of what's on my beading tray. Now I had this on a tray, but I had to take it off for purposes of getting it in front of the video. So this has been sitting on my beading desk, which I'm not at right now, since last August. Last August in my having fun making jewelry collab, I think we had to use like browns or blacks or something. I forget exactly. But when I was looking for beads for those pieces, which I'll try and put a picture at the end of, or a link to that video, that's what I'll do. I'll link that video up here as an iCard. Anyway, I had pulled out these other beads, which are mostly bone. Let me show them to you. These are from Michaels, and these are called... what are they called? Etched Dragonfly in oval cylinder. So I have 2 left in here. There's 3 here, and I think there were 7, so I had already used 2 for something else. This one I don't think I'll be using because it's like finishes off or something. And this one's kind of a messed up one, so I probably won't be using those. But I picked out the 3 remaining nicest ones, and then these are actually bone beads, and they're called, they were on like a clearance at Fire Mountain, but they're from Blue Moon. I was trying to say Boheme and Moon at the same time. Blue Moon Royal Boheme bone beads. They're called hair pipe, and they are dyed black, and that's what these look like. And I noticed that this isn't exactly the right length. Like, I need another one here, so we'll be adding that. So let's find one of those actually. Well, let me show you the other stuff first. Then these I think are also bone. Yes, rounded antique white. They're from, if you're not familiar with, Happy Mango Beads. They have a lot of African trade beads and beads from other countries, some very unique stuff, but they also have like check glass and things like that, and clasps and pendants and things like that. So check out Happy Mango Beads. And I found them through Kimberly, oh gosh, I forget her channel name. I'll try and find that below, put it below if I can. I haven't seen her lately, so I don't know if she's still posting. But Happy Mango Beads is still, I get emails from them every week. So yeah, they're still around. So these are bone beads as well. And then the other day in my jewelry making fun collab, I had used some Jupiter Jasper beads. These little ones I said were sitting on my tray, and there they are. And I used them on this little tassel down here, along with those other little bone beads, which are here, bone antiqued 3mm, and they're sort of a more yellowish color to them, but I just needed some like on top, like here, 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 and down on the dangle. And I did pick out some clasps from EEB's Vintage Brass, which I thought would go well with this lobster clasp. And then I have this little container here of antique brass, wire guardians, clamshells, crimp beads, jump rings, and what do you call those things? Crimp covers. So let's finish this necklace. I just want to get it off my beading. I need to move that beading tray that was there and make room. And I thought what I'd do, I kind of held this up to me. I want to put this one on, obviously, and make sure. And then one of those white bone, larger white bone pieces. And actually I'm just going to dump these out because I think what I want to do is put like 5 of these on the end of each one of these over here. So we'll start with the one I just put that piece on. And so we normally would just have 1, but I think I'm going to put 2, 3, 4, 5, because I just want it a tad bit longer than what I have it at. And the lobster claw is not going to add a lot of a lot of space. And these are, I don't know what kind of bead buddy things these are, but and I don't remember where I got this particular one. I got some red ones not long ago from Soft Flex, but the white ones I've had in my stash. And I also have some tiny little spring ones, which actually are my favorite ones, because they're very small. And that's 5. Okay, so now let's just finish, or just check the length and everything. So I have a ruler right over here. Let me bring the longest one. It's a messy one because this is my one of my paper crafting rulers. So it's about 10 inches on each side, not quite, and then plus the dangle. So a 20-inch necklace plus roughly 2-inch dangle. That's good for me. I don't know, it might be too long for some people, but it works for me. I don't know if I'll be wearing it or selling it, but anyway, so let's just get a crimp bead. I usually prefer crimp tubes, and these are old. They're from EE Beads. So yeah, and actually I need a clasp. We'll just go ahead and put the clasp on. Let me see. I actually want it on the other side. I'm a righty-handy person. And it does matter because, well, it really wouldn't matter because this could turn either way. I used nice ones, so if it flips around, it won't be bad. Now, this beading wire is not the best. I don't even know how many strands. It's 0.014, so it's a thinner beading wire. I probably should restrand this, actually, on a nice thick beading wire, because this is really too thin. It's a gold colored beading wire. You know what? Hang on. We're gonna restring this before I crimp it, because these are really loose on here, and even though the beads are lightweight, I just am not comfortable with that, and I think I want the antique brass from Soft Flex. Be right back. Okay, everyone, I am back, and I found this spool of antique brass Soft Flex beading wire. It took me a minute to find it, and so we're going to just put this on. I cut a little extra, and I left one strand on the old beading wire so I could remember how this goes, but I don't know if you can see the difference in the thickness. This is really quite thin compared to this one, and I just like the color better on the antique brass anyway, since that's the findings we're using. Alright, so I have my bead thingy stopper on the one end, and we have to start down here at this end. Oops, maybe, if it'll cooperate. And I'll just do the one side, and then I'll pause you and come back with it all strung, so I don't want to, bore you with it. And I honestly can't remember my design philosophy, other than I probably just wanted to use those dragonfly beads from Michaels, because they're really nice. I had made a bracelet with those before, and actually I think I made 2 of them, and my daughter got one of them, and I think I might have sold the other one, or maybe I still have it in my craft fair stuff. I don't remember. Been so long since I've been to a craft fair, I can't remember what all I have, although I do have an inventory of everything. I inventory everything. I inventory my beads that are for my business. I have some personal stash also, and those I don't inventory so much. And if I remember, when I get to this bead, I might change it out, because I don't like that big splotch on there. Let's push this down. So far these other ones are okay. So this is a very lightweight necklace. It'll be nice for in like summertime when you're hot and everything, and it's mostly, natural. It's bone and dyed bone. Now the dyed bone in heat, I don't know if it'll bleed. Very possibly it could. I don't know, forgive my nail. I, of course, did them and then immediately, even though I sat and tried to be really good and not mess my nails up, I still did somehow. Anyway, I did them before my Wednesday night live the other day. Now this is the small antique bone, and I wanted that to hold this in place. So this just is feeding onto the wire. I wire wrapped that, wire wrapped loops, and then wire wrapped, actually that's a head eye pin. Just put it on jump ring, and these are little wire wrapped dangles. So we'll just put that like that. All right, and now we can take the rest of these off because we remember what order things go in. And then I'll re-wrap this other wire onto that spool so that I can reuse it on something that doesn't need a thicker wire. All right, so we need another small one here. I guess we'll just keep going instead of putting you on pause because it doesn't take that long. I'm a little nervous about crimping and things in front of you in case they don't hold, because like I said, I don't always use crimp beads. I usually use crimp tubes, but yeah, we'll use these beads because I have them in the right color. Okay, I remembered I want to use a different bead here, so maybe this one doesn't have a spot like that on it, because I want it to be as nice as possible. You know, I can feel this, it feels sturdier to me already. Now this one is kind of chopped up too, so let's see if we can find a different one. You're going to have some like blemishes and stuff on natural beads. That's just the nature of them. So, but I think it adds character to a certain point. I mean, if they're like the hole is totally lopsided or something and the bead's not sitting right and all the other ones are, then yeah, that's not going to look right. And if it has a big chunk out of the side of it or something, I don't go for that. Unless you can, unless it's big enough you can wire wrap something over it or whatever. I try to use as many of the natural beads and stuff that I can, even if they're a little bit, you know, wonky. But sometimes you just can't, especially if you're going to be selling it. You want it to be a nice piece, right? So there, all restrung. That didn't take long. And since I have an end open, we are now going to put our crimp bead on. And actually, I am going to use a wire guardian on this. I don't usually do that. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. I do usually do that, but not usually with soft wax, but I'm going to because I have them here and I just feel makes it a little more secure, and I don't know why I got 4 out, but these are what wire guardians look like if you're not familiar. And they do come in different sizes, and not all wire will fit through. So what you do is you go up one side and down the other. Let's get this pulled up a little closer here to the crimp bead, but not all the way yet. And then you put your closed ring or your jump ring or whatever. I'm just going to put the clasp right on this, right over that. And they don't recommend you do this, but I always sort of squeeze it closed. Where's my pliers? Squeeze it closed a little bit. Not too much yet, especially because we have to, sorry, I saw that flashing. You want your clasp to be able to move, and it does. It's a little bit darker than the rest of this. Then I'm going to go back through the crimp bead, if I can find it. I have way too much beading wire. I actually should have, I think I'm going to try and pull some down the other side and up, because I have more. Oops, that came out of the get back up in there. You want your clasp up in there. You don't want your wires crossed. Let's see, what was I going to do? I was going to pull this up through the tail that's the tail that's long, this end. Nope, that's that end. Okay. And then pull the other end down. If I can do it. Yeah, it's not going to work. Alright, never mind. I'm not going to do it. It's already snug as a bug in there. And I want a little bit of room. You don't want your wires crossed. This is actually a corrugated crimp. I want to leave a little room because I want to have room for a crimp cover if I choose to do that. And did I bring my, sorry for reaching. Here's my crimping pliers. I'm just using regular crimping pliers. And I'm going to put it in that second. I was watching Thunder Horse Descendant, sorry. And she said it's like lips. And I forget what she called lips and hugs or kisses and hugs. I don't know. I never heard that before until then, so I thought that was kind of cool. But it does kind of look like lips in that second part. So we're going to put that in there. Make sure it's where I want it. And we're going to crimp, maybe. Put it in there. I cannot see. Sorry, guys. It's around this camera stand the way I have it. Pull that thread again, and I'm going to crimp. I didn't exactly have that straight, but I think it's okay. I think the wires are on either side. Pull test. It's not pulling. And then I'm going to come back in and round it out a little bit. And I'm going to turn it a couple times. Yeah, that didn't really round it very good. And then I'm actually going to go through, a lot of people don't do this anymore. I'm just going to go through all these beads here at the end to give it a little more stability here on the end, and then I'm going to cut it so that the end will be about in the middle of this two beads, sorry. Now I don't know if that'll work out that way on the other side, but we'll see. I don't want it coming out the other end though, so if it does I need to cut more off. It does not, so yay, perfect. And then we'll just make sure they're all down that way. Actually, let's put our crimp cover on that one. If I can find a crimp cover. These are from Fire Mountain. They're antique gold plated brass, but they look the same as the antique brass to me. Yeah, a little bit goldier, but not much. And they're 4mm. They come in different sizes too. I normally prefer the 4mm, and we'll see if I can do this on camera. I don't know. I'm not the best at this. So if it doesn't work out, I'll leave it for later. Yeah, that's why. It's hard to... Oh, you know what? I don't think I got that closed real good. Kind of wonky. It's not pulling loose, but it looks kind of wonky. Wonky. Well, that's why I want the cover on, though. It's closed, but okay. Now I'm just going to get my chain nose. Sometimes I use my crimping pliers, the round part, to do this, but I'm going to try and just carefully, gently use the chain nose to do it today. And then I come around to the front and just try and get that gap closed. The problem I have is sometimes I go too hard and I squish them, and you don't want to do that. That's about as good as I'm going to do on camera. I'll futz with it a little more afterwards, but now that looks a little more finished. And the clasp, I'm going to actually push this wire guardian in a little bit because that clasp keeps wanting to escape out of there. There we go. Now I'm going to shake this down that way. Take the other bead stopper off. Oh, now see, that is sticking out through there. Oh gosh, hang on, before we get to crimping the other one. Let's cut that. Where is it? There. It is too long. Alright, let's try this again. Oops, and now I'm losing my beads on this end because they're not with the bead stopper anymore. Alright, let's get that back in there and hold this up. There we go. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay. Ah, phew. Sorry, I'm not the best at doing these tutorials online, so please bear with me. I'll try and get better, but I don't know. I'm looking into better lighting as well, and but I don't know if I can afford a new camera yet. The ones I was looking at, I really need to research more because they're like $700, and I just don't. I'd rather spend the money on beads and stuff than that kind of stuff. But, you know, oh well. Alright, so let's get another crimp bead. And we are going to need something for the clasp to hook onto. We'll get a wire guardian, but we're going to need a ring. And I do have some jump rings here. So they're not closed jump rings, though. I do... Now, see, that little bead is so small. That's why I wanted to crimp cover too, so that little bead, these beads wouldn't go over it. I maybe should have put one of those little round, these antique bones onto there first. Okay, let's just use a jump ring. Let's get one of these out a while. And if I don't destroy it, we'll only need that one. These are pretty small. I'm going to put you on hold and find a better ring. Hang on. Okay, I was able to find these. Let's see how they are. They're bigger. They're pretty sturdy. I think they'll be alright. Let me make sure it's closed good. I would prefer oval, but I know I don't have any oval in the antique brass color yet. I think that's one of the things I ordered this morning, I hope. Maybe not. I'm not sure I found them in antique brass. I can't remember what I ordered this morning, and that's because I had stuff sitting in my cart for so long, but I know there were some more oval jump rings in that cart, and I checked it this morning, but I don't remember if I paid attention to what color they were. Let me just check this clasp. I should have done that before. Okay, good, it opens. Good, that's an awfully big jump ring. Not really loving that. I'll be right back. Alright, well, our choices other than that big one are these more vintage brass, which appear to be about a 5mm, or these brass, which appear to be about a, all stuck together, 6mm. Well, not the best. There, that's a good one. I think I'm gonna, even though I like this color better, I think I'm gonna go with the little bit bigger one. You could put two on, or if you had a split ring, you could do that as well. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. It'll match the bead cover. Let me make sure that's closed tight before I put it on here, because I can see a gap even though I don't even have my magnifying glasses on, my magnifiers, because they're at my beading table and I'm not. I'm at my papercraft video table that I convert to video for jewelry making as well. Yeah, I'm not crazy about that still, but we're gonna go with it. And if I had to redo it again someday, I'll redo it again. Alright, let us put that on, put it through the little crimpy bead. Actually, let's pull this wire down a little bit, up through there a little more, down through here. The thing about the wire guardian is it's harder to move the the wire back down, because you know you have to take up this slack. So it's, oh, there, it wasn't so hard after all, right? I'm actually going to bead through these beads a while and see if we can get it so that it's not sticking out anywhere, because I really don't want it sticking out and poking somebody, right? Oop, there's through some. Let's get it down to the end of these bone beads, and that one has a chip in it, but I am a little particular sometimes. It's that detailed accounting brain of mine that doesn't want to be an accountant all the way anymore, but it wants to create, make fun stuff, pretty stuff for all the people that work in those industries. Still. All right. So I had to remember we need room for the crimp cover, but I don't want a big gap here either. All right, I think we're good. And I'm trying to make sure that crimp does not go in that bone bead. Let's get that in the right hole there. There we go. Nope, not quite. There. All right, pull that down a little bit and squeeze. Crimp. We crimped it. I don't know if you can see the. Of course you can't. Oh my goodness, this lighting. This is why I need to get lighting first, and then oops, camera maybe. No, there we go. It's crimped, see? And now we take our pliers in the first compartment, the hugs, and we give it a hug. Give it a big hug. These are really hard, actually. Brass is kind of a hard metal, which is a good thing, but all right, I'm gonna come through. I know some people say don't do this. Squish it down with the front of the crimps pliers, not the compartment, the actual end. All right, let me check it, pull test, because if that crimp bead slides up and down, that's not a good thing. All right, now before I stick that in there, let's try and get this crimp cover on again, because that bead wants to go in those bone beads, and I don't really want it to. All right, so let's get our chain nose, start to push down, oops, on that crimp cover. This one is going a little bit wonky. Push here. There, that's about as good as I'm going to get it on camera, and I'll do the rest after. And I am going to do what some say don't do, but I'm doing it anyway, and that is I'm going to squish these wire guardians closed a little more. Not all the way closed, just in a little bit, because I don't want them sticking out past the crimp cover, otherwise it might scratch. And there, we'll cut that off, and that should fit right into that tube. And there we have a finished necklace I can get off of my beading table. So I hope that was okay for you. I'm sorry if it was blurry or jumpy, but yeah, I just wanted to come on and finish making that with you, and I hope you enjoyed that, sort of my process. And usually when I'm beading, I have a starting point, and the starting point this time was these bone beads that I found digging through, and they're from Michael's, like I said, and I've bought them before, but when you buy them, I might have got them online, Michaels. I don't know. I would not recommend that for this kind of thing. I would definitely want to see them and check every bead in the store and check both sides when they're etched like this, because you can see some of them are not going to be perfect. Like this side is pretty. So I could still use this if I can get it somehow backed on something else, like a piece of leather maybe would be cool, so that that mess up part on the bead is hidden. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I hope you have a great day. Almost happy spring. Spring equinox is the 20th, so happy spring, everybody. Talk to you soon. Hugs, love, and peace.